Hello everyone and welcome to my February garden tour. It just stopped raining and the sun just popped out, so I figured this would be a great time to do a garden tour. While the garden is colorful, just watered and refreshed. Over in this corner, I have one little primrose left. My creeping Jenny is starting to come alive again. And look at this flower. This just came up from seed. When this first came up, I thought it was celery, but then there's another flower in the other side of my garden that's blooming, so I know it's not celery. My little cottage garden is starting to get a little bit further ahead. I finally got the little white rocks put down. Next, I have to plant some things in those pots, and I planted a whole bunch of gladiola bulbs over here, so those will come up in the summertime. Hello girls, how are you doing? Are you waiting for John to come in there and feed you some treats? Oh, it looks like you guys need some food. Okay, I'll be right back. Yes, I know, Smarty Pants, you're hungry. Isn't my vintage bathtub looking so bright and colorful? The ornamental cabbage is sure putting on a little show. I'm gonna eventually have to divide those Shasta daisies because the root ball and all the rhizomes underneath are so huge, so those definitely need to be separated. But my golden yarrow is coming back. And look at the vegetables in my Veggiga raised garden bed. My lettuce is absolutely delicious. I pick from that all the time and make salads. I have a couple broccoli with some Brussels sprouts behind. I haven't seen any vegetables come up yet to harvest, but I'm still waiting very patiently. I imagine in springtime, a lot of my flowers over there will be blooming again. They're still a little dormant, but for the time being, I have some pretty colored bottle trees that give my garden a little pop of color. I usually pick up my bottles at the thrift store. Sometimes I get them at the dollar store too. But the glass at the dollar store seems to fade really quick. So the thrift store is my favorite place to buy colored bottles. I always keep water in that little saucer for the hummingbirds or cats that come into my backyard, including my own. A lot of times in the summertime, I'll see pollinators drinking from this. So it makes me feel good to know that I'm providing resources for nature. All the little plants in these pots came from seed that I did not plant. I just scattered seeds in my garden last year from one daisy plant. And after I scattered seeds, I found thousands of little seedlings. So then what I do is I just dig them up out of the ground and replant them in other various locations of my garden. Now I have these little daisies everywhere. Right now, my lantana is in dormant stage. So I planted some primroses in the bathtub just to give this little area some pops of color. It just got done raining, so my maidenhair fern got a fresh new drink of water. It's crazy because maidenhair ferns do not like the cold weather, but because this is planted underneath my patio, it lasts all winter long. This pot seems to be a little flooded. It rained like cats and dogs just about 10 minutes ago. Crazy how the sun is out now. In the springtime, I usually grow morning glories up this trellis, this heart-shaped trellis. I just love it. But again, it's still a little bit too early for that. As you can see just from last month's January garden tour, my garden is definitely starting to come alive. If you'll notice, I have some nasturtium. Those just came back from seed. I can't wait for those to flower. And growing up this cattle panel arbor is sweet peas. I didn't plant these either. They just came back from seeds that must have been in my garden. And this is already going to seed. I like to come out here in the garden and pick these and enjoy them. They never make it in the house. This is that flower I was telling you about that was growing in my other pot. Look at all these buds. And this is the flower it makes. I always forget the name of it. It's very delicate and pretty. And this just came up from seed on its own. I didn't plant hardly anything in my garden this year. I was very blessed that everything just popped up from seed. And another Shasta daisy that's looking green and beautiful. All these, this is verbena. All this came up from one plant that I had. I scattered seeds throughout my garden and now it's popping up everywhere. See? More verbena. My garden is absolutely beautiful in the summertime. Hopefully the flowers will come back soon. Oh, and my pugster butterfly bush. I don't remember seeing all this green growth on it last month. That's new too. This little corner in my garden is kind of new. I always rearrange things and nothing is ever the same in my garden. I recently planted that soft cress mahonia right there and added a brand new bottle tree. The fun things about bottle trees is I can always mix and match the bottles when I get new ones. So those are never the same either. My vintage lawnmower with an azalea I got from my work for 50 cents. So here's my plan and tell me what you think. Behind the big shop, there's a vacant spot. But I hate looking at that wooden fence. So what I'm thinking about doing, instead of planting something big, I'm gonna grow a vine on that fence, like maybe a creeping jenny or a creeping fig, just to cover the fence with something green. I think that'll look so much better than looking at all that dreadful wood. So that's my idea. Do you guys have any suggestions? What I could do to just hide that, or maybe put a screen behind the lawnmower and cover it all together. Lots of options I can do this spring. And over here is my propagation station and more vegetables that I'm growing in my Veggiga raised garden beds. Broccoli, all of it's broccoli. I love broccoli. And I can't wait for it to come up. I'm hoping it does. I've been waiting very patiently. But it sure looks healthy, doesn't it? There's 8 broccoli plants in there, at least 8. Here's something new in my garden. I just recently planted a white Natchez crepe myrtle tree. I made a whole video about this last week. I hope you'll check it out. After my fence fell down from a storm and this concrete wall was installed, it just felt so bare back here. So I felt this area needed a tree. So there it is, my new crepe myrtle tree. And I have more broccoli underneath of it. I don't know if you can see it, but my clematis has new growth on it. That means that's gonna flower soon. This clematis always comes back faithfully. It's one of my favorite flowers in the whole world. It's crazy because The stems are so delicate and fragile, like you could almost snap them off. But from those dried, brittle stems come these beautiful new shoots of green leaves, and they will soon make gorgeous buds. Clematises are so beautiful, but so many people are scared to grow them because they look so exotic. People think that they're foo-foo-y and high maintenance, but they're really not. They're super easy. So over here is my succulent barrel. Oh my goodness, my string of bananas is actually producing flowers. I've never seen this on here before. All the little succulents you see underneath the barrel came from mother plants that were inside the barrel. I always divide them every fall or sometimes early spring. So all these little succulents just came from a few. The wonderful thing about succulents is they're so easy to divide and multiply. Lots of fun for sure. And I just found different stones and pebbles in my backyard and put them together and made a cute little design. Inside these 6 pots were some paper white narcissus. Those are done blooming, so I'm letting the leaves photosynthesize so more energy can go down to the bulbs for next year. I just think they look pretty there while there's not too much in my garden. They just add a nice little bit of greenery. My little happy place, a maidenhair fern inside my vintage sink. Can you believe it? It was so cold this winter, and look at how beautiful, lush, and green it is. It really likes this spot. It gets just enough sun, but it's protected from the elements being underneath this canopy, or patio you could call it. And these 2 azaleas I just planted in pots were from my work as well. The floral department can't sell things after they've done blooming, so then they sell them to me for real cheap. I'm a courtesy clerk at a grocery store, so the floral department says, "Hey Liz, we got some more plants we have to throw out. You can have them for 50 cents. And I'm like, right on, save them for me. Some more colored bottles. I have an amaryllis bulb here. I'm not really quite sure what to do with it. So it's just kind of sitting there waiting for me to decide what's going to happen with that. And little Abby, of course, my little sidekick. Hi, Abby. Now, right after I filmed this video, I kind of started working on a little seed starting project. So I wanted to include this little clip in my garden tour. What I did is I just got these little nursery pots. I just stuck them in horseshoes, and this will prevent the pots from blowing down in the wind. And I believe I put some lettuce seeds in those as well. So I just wanted to include that and show you what I did. I just quickly put that together and said to myself, oh man, I should have done that before the garden tour. So I just came out real quick and filmed it to show you. I think it looks kind of cute. And I also put this together too. I used my Dollar Tree stackable containers and started some lettuce seeds in those as well. I just think it looks kind of cute and gives my garden a little charm and character until all the spring flowers emerge and grow. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you have a beautiful day in your garden too.